Hi, I'm Alex Crayley. I'm a filmmaker and pop culture historian. I've made it my life's work to show the world how important films are to us and the unexpected ways in which the film world collides with our real world. This is Crayley and the Real World. Welcome everyone to another episode of Crayley and the Real World, a series in which I take a look at all the different ways that films affect us and vice versa. I'm Alex Crayley, of course, and as always, I'm joined by my assistant, Jay Merrick.
And on today's episode, we're here in Rosswood, Alabama. You could call it mine and Alex's old stomping grounds because we graduated from film school about 5 miles that away.
Ever since we started this series, we wanted to do an episode about something that we ourselves are very familiar with, and that's
Urban legends.
Urban legends, that's right. You see, urban legends are what I like to think of as this rich, primordial soup where creatives can reach in and pull out the raw ideas that they then mold into the horrifying masterpieces that we know and love. Now, urban legends are often tied to specific locations as well. And there's one location out here that everyone knows. Let's take a look. Rosswood Hospital has sat abandoned since its closure in 1999. Ever since, it has been the subject of countless urban legends and ghost stories. Students from the nearby university often trek through the moonlit woods surrounding it to visit this place as a rite of passage, staying just long enough to see the crumbling walls and the dark, twisted hallways. It's also well-trodden ground to Jay and I personally, as we shot a major part of one of our projects out here when we were film students together. This old hospital is...
Wait. Are you not gonna say what it was called?
No, I wasn't planning on it, but I guess you can.
Okay, it was called Alex Crayley's Marble Hornets, and it was about, stop me if you've heard this before, a guy comes back to his hometown after graduating college, and things are different.
Please don't put any footage of that in.
I'm going to.
No.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll just do it in the edit when you're not looking. Sorry, you were saying.
Anyway, the old Rosswood building is deeply connected to this place. It's provided young creatives with an unending supply of inspiration over the years. And soon, we're going to venture back into it. But before that, we're joined by a local folklorist and expert on the history of Rosswood.
I'm Jody Locke, and I'm the assistant curator and lead archivist at the Rosswood Historical Society, and I'm deeply passionate about our local history.
Jody, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, could you tell us a little bit more about Rosswood Hospital?
Well, Rosswood Hospital was established in the spring of 1952. Its campus consisted of 2 main buildings. The first was the dormitories, that was for housing patients, and the other was for treatment during their stay.
So when you say their treatment, what are we talking about?
Rosswood was primarily focused on the treatment of mental health disorders. While most of the records from Rosswood specifically are redacted or sealed, it's safe to say that mental health wasn't as well understood in 1952 as it is today. In fewer words, Rosswood was an asylum.
And given that context, we're probably talking about some pretty barbaric treatments. Are like shock therapy or?
Shock therapy, solitary confinement, even lobotomies, which were never formally outlawed in the United States.
Wow. And it's those kinds of barbaric practices and the behaviors that surround them that likely formed the basis for a lot of early slasher films. The idea of the crazy killer, right?
I don't know that I would say that exactly. In fact, when it comes to the treatment of the mentally ill in the United States, the truth is much more horrifying than fiction. That being said, most urban legends have some grain of truth to them. I've heard of plenty of instances of escapes during its heyday and even up until its closure.
So patients would get out. Would the police just round them up and send them back? What happens?
Sometimes there were genuine disappearances. I can think of one instance. From 1998, there was a young boy who ran away during his treatment, and to my knowledge, he was never found.
It's probably some tales and myths that came from that incident alone.
It's possible. This whole thing is like a game of telephone. You know, with every subsequent retelling, the truth gets stretched and it becomes harder and harder to get to the heart of what actually happened.
Right, and it's that kind of malleable storytelling that ends up being urban legends. A place like Rosswood Hospital has to be ripe for that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I've heard of plenty of folks going to the grounds themselves to see if they can catch a glimpse of the spirit still wandering the grounds after all these years.
And it's my understanding that those kinds of people are the types that are all too eager to experience their own ghost story, basically, right?
Right, exactly. I should point out that going there is legally considered trespassing, but there are plenty of folks who are comfortable with taking on that kind of risk if it means that they can experience the otherworldly.
Now, do they?
I've heard stories, but that's folklore, right? It's the oral tradition of regular people in a community, and in this case, Rosswood.
With that in mind, before we head out to Rosswood Hospital proper, we thought we'd take a walk around and talk to some folks, find out what stories they've heard, and maybe what other urban legends they're aware of. But keep in mind, this is a college town, and it's a Friday night, so anything goes. So it turns out that it's spring break, and I'm having a little bit harder time finding people to interview than I originally anticipated. But don't worry, I'm not ready to give up quite yet. Told you I'd find someone, guys. I'm here with Brandon, who you're familiar with Rosswood, correct?
It's Brendan, but yes, I am familiar. I've heard of the facilities.
And you've also heard about some maybe spectral interference here. Could you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, I heard Marie Laveau put a curse on the place from beyond the grave. I heard she was petitioned by a patient.
And so she was petitioned while already dead?
Correct.
And what kind of curse did she put on Rosswood? All right, we found somebody else that knows a little bit about Rosswood. What's your name?
Oh, that doesn't matter too much. Y'all wanted to hear a ghost story, right?
Yes. Yeah, tell us your ghost story.
Yeah, I got a ghost story.
Okay.
My brother, he's a slick guy, you know? He was,
Okay.
you know, I've never been able to talk to girls very, very well. But my brother, you would have liked him. You would have. When we were seniors in high school, my brother, he was only a year older than me, so we were close in age. Seniors in high school.
Was he held back a year?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Of course. Please continue.
He talked to these two like, you know, sophomore girls, and like, you know, he was like, hey, you know, let's go hang out in the woods, and like I could never have done that, but you know, they said, yeah, we'll go out, and you know, we were gonna go have a good time. I was so nervous. I was, you know, the whole walk out, and then a little of that. We reached Rosswood. I'm so sick. I had to lie down. I was like, give me a minute. I'm gonna sit here. I must have fallen asleep, I guess. I was so f***ed up. Oh.
We can bleep it.
Oh.
Don't worry.
Wake up. Suddenly. And it's the two girls, and they're shaking me. And they're yelling. It took them. It took them.
They took your brother?
It took them.
The girls took your brother?
No.
No.
I mean, I stood up. I mean, I had to get up. They were saying, I asked them again where their brother, and they said, took him. And so, like, they start motioning me to follow them, and they brought me to this tunnel. This big tunnel in front of me. Steel. And it's so dark in there. And the girls, they're yelling in my ear. They're saying, "It dragged him in there. It dragged him in there."
This is a tunnel at Rosswood Hospital?
No.
No.
There's no tunnel at Rosswood Hospital. You know what's listening to me?
Okay.
I've never seen this tunnel before. I turn and like they're both like they're on the ground and they're just
They're having like a seizure?
like on the ground. And I was like, I don't know what to do.
Alex, I think we should call him a cab or maybe.
So I ran into the tunnel. And I was calling my brother's name, saying, "Where are you? Where are you?" And I hear, "Here I am." Just like that, you know. Here I am. And I turn around. That was so beautiful. I ran. I had to. Never saw my brother again.
You don't know what happened to your brother? What happened to the girls?
They woke up. They were kind of like me, kind of sick, but we got back to the car where we parked, and by the time we got there, they didn't know who I was. They didn't know me. They didn't know I had a brother. They didn't know there was no brother. Do you hear what I'm saying? There was no brother.
No, I get what you're saying. Wow.
Come on, man. I just called you a cab. Come on. Come on.
Well,
Maybe we just cut. Man. Right. Well, Jody, what do you think? Do any of these ghost stories hold water?
I think it should be your turn to talk now.
Okay. Well, maybe the three of us will experience our own ghost story tomorrow when we spend all day and night at Rosswood Hospital. Hope you'll join us for part 2, coming soon. Jay, you got your sleeping bag? Nice. As always, I'm Alex Crayley, and this is Crayley in the Real World.